Welcome on in here to First Pitch. We got the the division series rolling on here on a Monday edition. Just two games on the slate, but we're going to get you an early look ahead, get you some best bets in the action tonight as well. And with just two games, I only need two experts alongside me. I'm Dan Alexander, a little hoarse from going nuts at SoFi for my Philadelphia Eagles, but we persevere. And joining me are Adam Trigger and Drew Martin. Love the guys from the Hustle crew getting us some baseball winners here today. How we're going to do it, we're going to talk Philly Bravos at the top here with my man Trigger. Drew's going to give us an early look on Houston and Minnesota. And then we're also going to be talking about the Dodgers coming up here in just a few moments. And that's going to be in the best bet segment here tonight. So, guys, let's get right into it. I want to hear your thoughts, Trig, on how you're going to be attacking this Phils and Bravos game. I know nothing was crazy actionable for you in this one, but I mean, with the Phils up 1-0, Wheeler heading to the mound, opposing Fried, still a hell of a game we got on tap tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what happens at this time of year. Lines tighten up. There's only two games. So, I have a bet in the other one. Chances are you're probably not going to have an extremely strong take in both. Yeah, and I will say this, and I know you're very familiar with the area. I was in Philadelphia on Saturday. My sister lives really close to downtown Philly. So we were out during the game. Couldn't get into Xfinity Live. Was just absolute mob scene.
You don't want to. You don't want to. Trust me.
Went over to the live casino where they have the FanDuel Sportsbook and stuff. And I'll just say to start the handicap, if the Braves don't win this one, they're probably not winning this series because those Phillies fans are going to be out in full force when this thing comes back to Philly. And so for that reason, I mean, this is, and we've seen the numbers sort of suggest that if you go down 2-0 in these 5-game series, it's very, very difficult to come back and win them. So, I mean, just from from that standpoint, I'd have to lean toward the Braves a little bit, but that hasn't really been how it's worked out so far in this playoffs. Now, I think it's a little bit different, the 3-game dynamic moving to the 5-game dynamic. I think you will get a little bit more zigzag in these series than you did in those first couple when it was just, hey, like, we're going to play 3 games, same ballpark. It's a little bit tougher to get off the mat. I feel like once you go down 1-0 in those series, going back to game 1, the Braves were shut out at home for the first time in more than 2 years in baseball. Imagine that, like going over 2 seasons without being shut out in your home ballpark. Very rare for that to happen. I don't think it happens again. Couple thoughts in terms of like way to find some betting value. I have this weird feeling this game goes over just because of like the offensive potential of both of these teams. So you go back to game 1, 3-0 final, obviously some high leverage, bullpen innings used there. And you look at this starting pitching matchup. This should be as easy of an under as it gets. Like if you're just looking at starting pitching, Zach Wheeler, he's been awesome in the playoffs, 2.55 ERA in 7 playoff starts. He's owned the Braves the last 2 years, 4-0, 3 ERA in 6 regular season starts against the Braves. Max Fried has just, he comes off the IL with with an injury, goes 6-0, 2.79 ERA, but then has a blister, missed a couple starts. He's got great numbers against the Phillies. So it's like you take a quick glance and just that kind of suggests under. But the familiar, as good as these two, with how good these two lineups are and how much exposure they've had with both of these starting pitchers, the fact that, you go back to the playoffs last year, the Phillies got after Fried quickly. 6 runs and 3 and a third. The total feels a little bit low. I have a feeling we're going to see some scoring. There's no way the Braves are going to get shut out again, right? They can't possibly get shut out again. They went 2 years since the last shutout. So you have to expect a little bit of offense there. I wanted to make a case for the Braves, but at the price, I just couldn't. The Phillies seem to be peaking again in October, similar to what they did last year. And so I didn't want to lay a price with the Braves because of that. But I have this, I wish I had more data to substantiate it, but gut feeling tells me that the total's a little low and we see some runs tonight. So again, a very, very slight lean to the over. I just think the bats might get going and the teams have seen enough of the opposing starter where we could see a crooked number or two.
Yeah, and this one painted across the board, sitting at 8. So if you want to bet the total, it's looking like there won't be much movement either way. We also, I'm looking at a notable offshore. They're a little bit juiced to the over, like a 8.12, so to speak. There's also some books who are juiced to the under, like Circa Sportsbook. So take your pick on 8 if you're betting the total. Hop below in the comments and let us know how you're looking to bet the Phils and the Atlanta Bravos tonight. Drew, we're going to talk about this Arizona Diamondbacks and Dodgers game coming up here in a few. But if people want your true thoughts on how to bet that Phillies and Atlanta game, they can head on over to your page right this moment. Best bets are half price today. So get Drew's opinion on the game for half of what you would normally have to pay for it. And definitely check that out over at Drew's page. But since you're in play on that game, I'd really like to get just some early thoughts for you. We at least know what the pitchers are going to look like in Houston and Minnesota. We got Javier and Gray. So anything early to talk about as far as a breakdown on that one?
Absolutely, Dan. Yeah, this one going on Tuesday, guys. And first, Dan, you brought up going to the game. I mean, just to see that hair flowing, you having a couple drinks and rooting on your Eagles. Hey, I've been there, man, where the lungs the next day, I'll tell you, 2 vitamin C pills, a lot of water, and a really good night's rest. It goes a long way. So take it from somebody that's been there, but it's cool to hear you rooting home your team, man. I'm sure it was fun yesterday. And did want to throw out a couple stats here on just the playoffs out the gate. I mean, I ran across something here. Listen to this, Dan. The teams with the 5 best records in Major League Baseball during the regular season, the Braves, the Orioles, the Dodgers, the Rays, and the Brewers have combined to go 0-8 so far this postseason. Think about that. 0-8 from the 5 best teams in the regular season. Just wanted to throw that out there. Like, that's probably not going to continue, to Trig's point. And bringing it in, remember, the Houston Astros did not have that great of a regular season. This was a team that was down a little bit, and people really questioning, could they win the West? And then, when they finally did, we remember, hey, will the Houston Astros be able to win the AL West division? What would happen if they didn't? I guess we'll never know. I thought that was really fun when they were celebrating their popping bottles. But either way, going on the diamond and breaking this game down, guys, for Tuesday. This is an early start, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, so we get some daytime action. I like the Astros in this, Dan. I really do. You can get them as high as plus 120 right now, guys. Risk 100 to win 120. Couple reasons why. Javier, their starting pitcher, like you talked about, we do have him slated as the starter, even though it's a Tuesday game already. His ERA for the full season, over 4.5, but he finished really strong. And that's something I've had success with in the MLB betting markets, is betting on the hot hand. And sure enough, his ERA was just over 3, and his batting average against was under 200, a 190 batting average against in his final 4 starts, only letting up 7 earned runs through those 4 starts. So we get a hot hand with Javier. And look, I don't love going up against Sonny Gray. Great pitcher in himself. He changes speeds very well, but he was just 4-4 against the Houston Astros. So it's not like he's really dominated this Astros lineup. It's a 1-1 series here. So this is a huge game 3. Whoever jumps on top here and gets this win, I think it's going to be the Astros. Also, something I've had in the back of my mind coming into this playoffs is for both Central champions, just the kind of like one representative from that division. Keep in mind, even though they lowered the in-division games against, in-division, it's still a little bit easier path to get there. And because Minnesota looked so good in the round before this, in the wild card round, I just feel like they're getting a little bit too much respect, Dan. Laying a somewhat hefty price here on the Twins. I'm going to go the other way. I think the Astros at the big plus price, or at least moderate plus price, as high as plus 120 right now. That's the side I'm going with early on Tuesday, some daytime action. Give me the Astros, Dan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love the breakdown there too, because this is the one series that we're looking at that's 1-1. Sure, we figure that we'll have some more series after tonight. Unfortunately for my Phils, maybe we'll have some more 1-1 series to talk about. But I love the breakdown there. That's Drew Martin. Check him out. WT.buzz/DM. As I mentioned, you want the best bet in the Phils game, you got to check it out over at his page. Drew, I'm going to throw it right back at you to talk D-backs and Dodgers. So it's funny. It's been a nice sports weekend for me because I was out enjoying that Phils game where they end up blanking the Braves. And then right after I was done, the Dodgers crowd was coming into the bar. And thankfully, I grabbed my tab and got out of there because with how I was screaming during the Phils game, this Dodgers crowd probably would have eaten me alive. 11-2. They were not happy folks. So you think a bounce back could be incoming, or is this Diamondbacks team just going to continue to surprise? How are you looking to bet it as far as best bets go?
You know what, Dan? This one missed my card. So in terms of best bets for the show here, I'm just gonna have a little bit of a small wager. It's always fun to have something going. MLB
Of
postseason on
course.
Monday nights on the Dodgers, and the reason why, and I know Trig's gonna break this down as well, so I'll make it quick. Zach Gallen,
Mhm.
1-3 with a 3.4 ERA and 11 career starts against the Dodgers. He's given up 25 runs in those 11 career starts. They've seen him somewhat well, pretty good, I guess we could say. And yes, he's a great pitcher overall, but I tend to kind of gravitate towards the stats where it's the same batters seeing the same pitcher in the same division. And we get that here, a little bit of an advantage towards the Dodgers, plus the fact Bobby Miller going for the Dodgers. I mean, he's not the big name, Dan, but if you've watched this kid pitch, I mean, he's a young pitcher. He finished his rookie year strong, going 5-2 with a 3.2 ERA in his final 11 starts of the season. So it goes back to riding the hot hand. I really like this kid, Miller. Look, I don't love kind of laying the minus 145 price tag. I got it at. Yeah, you can get it as low as minus 144 right now, looking at the Wager Talk Live
Mhm.
odds screen, guys. But I'm going to look to fade Gallen a little bit, just in the sense of the Dodgers bats seeing him pretty well, and Freddie Freeman in his last 15 postseason games. Watch out. 5 home runs. He's batting 353 here. So I think the Dodgers do get to him, Dan. Not something I love. I wouldn't go too big on it because we are having to lay a price. But those are some of the reasons why I'll probably be on the Dodgers tonight in the late night game.
A little pizza money action, Dodgers money line from a man, Drew Martin, right there. You want the stronger opinion, head on over to his page on Half Price Monday. And folks, if you like what we're doing here on First Pitch or across Wager Talk TV, all we ask you to do, hit that like button, hit that little bell. You'll never miss any of the shows when they go live, like the show that Drew was just coming off of, Opening Line Report. Yeah, that's a show that you definitely want to catch live if you want to get on the right side of NFL line moves. That Teddy Covers and Drew Martin. You can find it right here and only on the Wager Talk TV YouTube channel. All right, Trig, it seems like a consensus across the board here as far as the Dodgers money line goes. It's just a pizza money bet for me and Drew Martin. You like it a little bit more than that, or are you just looking to pay for dinner tonight? How are you going to be betting this one?
Yeah. So before I get into my breakdown, quick, this is so I'm going to give you my only client play for Monday. So I'll quickly, as you see my Fairfield sweatshirt on, I'll quickly promo my
Nice.
all the college basketball previews that I've been doing. Doing 30 of them throughout the month of October. They're all for free on my Twitter. So go follow me at Twitter on Twitter at TopFlightXI or on X at TopFlightSI. And there's an early
Still
bird
Twitter to
special for
me.
college basketball on my page. So lowest price that the full season is going to be for me all year is up on my page for a limited time. You can get that now. And because that's my promo and I don't really have anything else, I'm going to give you the one client play I have for free. That is the Dodgers. It's a 4% play for me. I absolutely love them in this spot. Listen, they were down 6-0 before they even got to bat the other day, right? Like on Sunday. So, or, I'm sorry, on Saturday. So like you just have to almost throw that out. Kershaw didn't have it. 6-0 hole. It would have taken. I mean, if they had gotten the bats going quickly, maybe they could have battled back into that game. But it was 9-0 in the top of the second inning. So I'm willing to throw that out. And I think what's getting lost a little bit here, Dan, is just how dominant the Dodgers have been against this Diamondbacks team at Dodger Stadium over the past few years. So Since 2018, the Diamondbacks have won back-to-back games at Dodger Stadium twice. That's twice in 5 years, Dan. They're 10-36 at Dodger Stadium in that span. And so I actually feel like this price, while we have to lay minus 145, minus 150, minus 155, depending on your book, I feel like this is almost a discount. I think the Dodgers, had they won game one, this is probably something like minus 180. So I actually think we're getting a little bit of a bargain in that regard here. Like Drew, I'm willing to oppose Zach Gallen. I took a loss going against him in the wild card round with the Brewers, but I don't think I was wrong about trying to fade him there. Yes, he went 6 innings. He gave up 2 runs. It's a quality start. But the Brewers, they really let him off the hook. He was also lucky to get off the hook. There was a spot in that game where the Brewers had the bases loaded, and he got a very fortunate double play on a ball that was smoked up the middle to get out of what could have been a huge inning for the Brewers. He also walked 3 batters in that game, so certainly not his sharpest effort. He wasn't pinpoint in September. The hard hit rate was up. The Dodgers beat him in both games at Dodger Stadium this year. And if you go back to the start in August that he made in this ballpark, the Dodgers took him deep 4 times. It's a career high for Gallen. He's never given up 4 home runs in a game until the Dodgers got him for 4 back in August. So with Gallen's hard hit rate up a little bit, and the fact that the Dodgers, showed the ability to hit him, which is also what Drew outlined, earlier in his breakdown. I don't see why the Dodgers don't get the bats going a little bit here. And, a couple of those hard hits go out of the ballpark, and the Dodgers could have a pretty nice advantage in this game. Now, I think the day off yesterday really helps the Dodgers. Cools the D-backs off a little bit. The quick turnaround isn't there. I think you could make a case that, okay, well, Arizona's bullpen's been great, and now they have all their top relievers available. But I think the way Arizona might look at this is, we've got a rested bullpen, and we have a 1-game lead. We need to make sure that we've got those bullpen arms sort of lined up for the home games that are coming up too. So I think the Dodgers, they're going to go with Bobby Miller. He's been really solid. It's rookie season, 3.76 ERA, 1.10 WHIP. I have no problem with Bobby Miller out there. And if he gets in trouble, he's not going to be out there very long. The Dodgers they can't afford to just go down 2-0. So I think you'll see a far quicker hook there than on the Diamondback side. I think Gallen has sort of earned the right to pitch game 2 and pitch it as if it's his game. And again, I think we're going to get 5 to 6 innings of at-bats against him. And I trust the Dodgers offense to break through at some point. And certainly, if the last month is any indication, they're going to hit some balls hard. And hopefully those balls are either leaving the yard or finding some green grass, because I think Gallen's been a little lucky in that regard. Hasn't really paid for some of the hard contact that he's given up. So I laid the minus 150 with the Dodgers, 4% client play. This is a series I fully expect to be 1-1. I still think the Dodgers have the upper hand in this series, even with getting blown out 11-2 in the first game. And so I laid the price here, 4% play Dodgers. I think they even up this series, and I think they do it in convincing fashion tonight.
Yeah, we got consensus on the bounce back there for the Dodgers. So the pros with a Trig and Drew on it, and the Joe here as well on it. And since I'm not, the expert handicapper over at WagerTalk, I can come on and say, hey, why don't we just parlay both favorites together? I know parlays are bad. Hop in the comment, tell me what an idiot I am. But plus 161, little pizza money bet. Why not? I'm taking both the favorites
Dan,
tonight, bouncing back.
Dan, can I jump in there real quick? Here's the nice thing about being able to do that. If you're someone that just, because I know there's people out there, like, no matter the situation, they just don't want to lay minus 150, my whatever. The way these games set up, they're 3 hours apart. So if you do like the Braves a little bit and you can shop it right, you can get plus 160, whatever. You parlay Braves to Dodgers, and if you're not looking good, you still have the option to come back with the Dodgers at 9, 3 hours later. The Braves was the way I leaned in game 1 anyway. So this is one scenario where I don't hate that one bit. I think the numbers stack up where if you can get, what'd you say, plus 160, plus 170 on that parlay, it's probably not the worst bet. Of course, if you like the first game, if you're okay with laying minus 150, I'd always rather have a straight bet than a parlay. Mm-hmm. That's just me. But I wouldn't put anyone off doing that here.
Dan,
we want to hear what you guys. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah. I mean, you bring up the Phillies and the Braves game. I mean, I know you're a Phillies fan. If you're going to bet on the Braves, doesn't that put you in a little sticky situation as like fan and some money? I never like doing that. I just kind of lay off the game when that happens to me. Why do you like that?
Maybe it's the exact opposite, Drew, and maybe it's the Philadelphia jaded fan in me. I do the old emotional hedge. My favorite thing is betting against my team, because then if I have misery at the end of the night, at least I made money off of the misery, Drew. So that's the way that I look at it. I like yesterday, I went to the Eagles game. Give me the Rams on the spread all day long. Sure, I ended up having a losing ticket, but it was fun as hell, waving goodbye to the Rams fans as they were going. I'm happy to part with some of my money, and then if the Rams were able to best the Eagles yesterday, when the fans would be chirping at me, I would be like, I bet the Rams. Don't look at me, man. Don't look at me. So it's a win-win is the way I look at it, Drew.
Or is it a lose-lose? I guess it depends what lens you want to look through it, Because if your team wins and you lost money, you're like, or at least I'm always like, man, I shouldn't have tried to outsmart myself. I should have just gone with the wave.
It's
I'm the same way.
You have any thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, I listen, I've taken being a fan almost completely out of sports. There's a couple of teams I root for. College basketball. If anyone knows me, they know I went to Siena. I'm a huge fan of Siena basketball. That being said, I have no issue betting against them if I think it's the right side, because you know what? We're going to lose so many bets over the course of we bet so many games over the course of the year. We're going to, and you're going to lose 40 to 45% of them anyway. So like, if I end up losing 10 minutes later, I've already forgot about it. And I'm like, oh, Siena won. Like that's great. If I win the bet, then I'm like, shit, like I didn't want, I'm sad Siena lost, but I got some money in my pocket. So, who cares? Like that's how I kind of look at it.
Well, with so many folks who are watching either live or on the replay, I think this is a great question. How often, if at all, are you able to bet against your team? A good question posed by Drew here. So hop below in the comments and let us know. Am I crazy for going against my Phillies, trying to pay for a little misery or guarantee a win? Who knows? Let me know in the comments below. But before you do that, make sure you hit like. Make sure you hit subscribe and check these guys out over at WagerTalk. Like Trig said, college basketball is right around the corner. The man went 122, 90, and 5 last year, up nearly 90 units on the hardwood in college alone. Drew's been seeing it well. He's got a best bet up tonight in baseball, so go check him out over at wagertalk.com. It is Half Price Monday. And as I mentioned, give us the like, give us the subscribe. We're giving you free winners here. We're giving you free breakdowns as well. And we're telling you how to maybe back or fade an emotional hedge. So let us know how crazy we are in the comments below. Big thanks to Adam Trigger. Big thanks to Drew Martin. A fun Monday show. We will be back for you tomorrow breaking down MLB. I'm going to go get some tea and some of that vitamin C that Drew was talking about. Best of luck, folks. We'll see you tomorrow here only on Wager Talk TV.